The following podcast is a production focused on storytelling, exploring new TTRPG systems and their supplements. This podcast is not sponsored by any of the systems or their owners and is meant to be a fun, interactive book club. Respective credits for songs, sound effects, and resources are listed within the description or details. And with that, please enjoy, adventurer. Hello and welcome to the Tables and Fables podcast, the interactive TTRPG book club where we pick up new mechanics, bumble through systems, and ultimately tell fun stories together. I can't think of a interesting descriptor to me right now beyond that of I am tired, but I am Tim. Joining me today in this particular adventure will be my two co-hosts through the Swamplands. Please introduce yourselves.
Hey, it's me, Collin, playing as Benjamin.
And this is Amanda playing as Scrap.
Last time, you had been commissioned by that of Dr. Honeyeater to investigate strange fauna in that of the swamplands of the Stillwake Marsh. I'm not sure if we talked about the name last time. I'll be sure to try and remember to be more particular with names in this world of Arta. But essentially, you were told to investigate that of the strange fauna of different colored beasts and stuff. You happened upon a dwarven bloated corpse going into the marshlands, and then also came across a upturned small apple cart of like a swamp. I can talk. Swamp apple grove in which there was no one left there beyond that of a burning tar pit and a giant toad, which set upon your party by surprise, almost fully digesting Benjamin, and the tar pit almost fully immolating that of Scrap. You, however, were able to get Benjamin out of the belly of the beast and Scrap away from the burning tar. After some time, taking a minute to rest, you found some respective loot of that of the lockbox, and then you went back into the swamplands, going back to that of Clusterrock after collecting some samples from the toad, and happened across a mysterious figure who left away in the mist. You then arrived at that of Clusterrock. That's pretty much that's where we at. That's where we've caught up now.
Wait.
Any any questions? I suppose in this weird instance, I'll have to still ask kind of how are you all doing?
Doing pretty good. That was the previous time was harrowing, but I'm ready to leave the marsh.
Yeah, as much fun as being in Tar was, I think Scrap's happy to be back on more solid ground.
Solid-ish, I suppose.
Solid-ish as you can be in a marsh, I suppose.
All right. Entering that of Clusterrock, the swamp city of the diseased Plaugelands, you are able to go past the front gate. You had noticed this when you had left originally, as it is a common enough instance that you didn't really pay any mind. However, entering into that of the city, you pass by two pieces of armor of dwarven height that are dressed in kind of a deep black metal with red filigree all over. These dwarven figures' heads turn to you, and you see that their eyes flash a moment, or what you could assume would be eyes, because you don't see their faces what's inside the helmet, as they allow you to pass by into the city. Going further into the city down the cobblestone road, you eventually arrive, I'm assuming, to that of Dr. Honeyeater's office. Am I assuming that correctly?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. As you arrive to the offices, you find that there is a sign upon the door that states, "Out. We'll be back later."
Great.
I guess we could wait for him.
Kind of looks around. Is the sky darkening still from the rain earlier?
It's still like a light rain right now. There's a bit of a light mist, essentially, that was from the previous episode. Not, again, a deluge of rain, but enough that it's creating a bit of a haze.
As we're waiting, I kind of look out into the haze. I'm looking to see if maybe we are going to see him come back at the same time as us. As he kind of peers out into the haze, looking for people to come walking back.
Sorry, where are you looking?
Just left to right, scanning scanning the horizon, just seeing if anybody's going to be approaching.
You have the occasional passerby, a dwarf, a gnome, half-elf, human, occasionally just passing by in the streets, but that's about it. Occasional coughing individual passing the offices as they make their way out their respective businesses, maybe to the docks or to other respective areas.
Are there any windows on this structure? I know it's ramshackle in nature.
No, there are no windows upon this structure.
Are there any seams at all where the rotten pieces of wood kind of have a gap so you can see inside?
Give me an investigation check.
That is 11.
11. It's not that hard to find. There are occasional gaps in the wood, and you're able to peer directly slightly into the area that would be the waiting room considered to be for Dr. Honeyeater. You notice that there are no lights on, like no candles. There's no one in the seats that are normally there. There's no one at all you can see.
Scrap just kind of straightens up and sighs. Great. Well, is there any place we can get food or out of this rain? I don't know. Until he comes
Yeah.
back, there's not much we can do.
I can think of a place. I use the urchin background, city secrets, just to kind of, I know my way around Clusterrock. Is there a place that, because I can maybe travel between any two locations in the city twice as fast as your speed would normally allow, maybe to the closest place where we can sit down and be indoors.
Sure, the facility is, again, putting it generously for that of Dr. Honeyeater's location, is kind of in the midsection of the Brackwater district of Clusterrock. That means that you are close to Trunk Sour, and there are actually a number of, or at least a few taverns that are in Trunk Sour. There's the Foolish Cup, and there is the Stale Castle. Oh, and sorry, there's the third one, the Deadly Boot. But there is also the distillery of Bitterboar.
Bitterborn. Wasn't the place where we found a bunch of their boxes discarded
Yeah.
on those boxes when we were out in the marsh?
Suppose we could ask him if the crew went missing. That and maybe the Millers, if they know what dwarf went, in the marsh.
Okay, I know a shortcut.
I follow you.
Where are you going?
Start with Bitterborn.
Yeah.
You make your way further into that of the Brackwater districts, kind of northwest towards that in the district of Trunk Sour. You are aware that, again, this district is mostly working with harvesting wood in the swamplands of swamp apples and also herding that of swamp elephants. After a time, you're able to get to the Bitterboar distillery. It's a modestly sized building. It's decently sized because it is probably one of the only major distilleries that is in Clusterrock. There are large, giant, rusted iron vats kind of directly over top of the building. And you get the sense that as you approach it, it originally was intended to be for shorter individuals of dwarven and gnomish height. However, it looks like, based off of the way that the building has been reconstructed, is that there's been an additional level given to it. So you can see very clearly evidence of what used to be where originally a door's height was made a bit higher by it was cut higher up, and then the ceilings were vaulted up a little bit more. Approaching to this area, you see that of the hanging sign that says Bitterboar Distillery with that of the side profile of an emerald boar. The door is closed to the distillery, and you do see that there is a light on inside. Opening the door, you hear that of a bell ring, and you are immediately greeted by an individual at a desk. They look up from their desk, and you see that they are a half-elf with a rather cute smile. But as they stand, you notice that they actually have a fair amount of knives about their waist. They've got short golden hair and long semi-pointed ears and a bit of a soft face. And again, they are fairly cute in like their smile and everything like that. But as they approach, they look to you and they give a nod and say, hello there, I am Zeke Mingletrite. I run the establishment here of Bitterboar Distillery. May I assist you? Are you looking to procure some various bottles for your tavern or anything of that nature? And he takes a cloth, puts it to his nose, and he blows a little bit before he puts it back into his pocket. Your silence is a bit unnerving, I should say the least. I might as well, if you don't have any business here, I can simply show you the door.
Oh, no. Sorry. Just waterlogged ears. She kind of shakes her head. We were out in the marsh not long ago, and we ran into an overturned cart. We wanted to report.
Oh, uh, um, do you happen to know where exactly?
We went northwest, I believe. She looks to Ben for confirmation.
Out by the apple, there was the swamp apple grove.
We have a few of those, but I think there was one in the northwest. One moment, and he goes behind the desk. He takes out a big ledger, and as he opens it, he begins to go through the various columns, and he notices, after a time, we were expecting one of our workers to report back. They are a bit late, not terribly so, but you say there was an overturned cart?
Yeah, there was. And do you know who the worker was?
The worker? Ah, yes, that would be Bruzid.
Bruzid, a dwarf?
Yes, a dwarf worker of ours. He was supposed to come in with a shipment, and I suppose it was delayed. Did you happen to see him?
Probably. He says very bluntly and matter-of-factly.
Probably. How do you mean probably?
I mean, it was hard to tell from the bloating, but we definitely did see a dead body.
Bloating? Dead body?
We came across a dead dwarf. And just for context, Benjamin bluntly say what other people are hinting at or hiding. So he wouldn't say he possibly, maybe even if Benjamin saw a dead body, he would say, "Oh yeah, we saw a dead body."
You'd say that's a dead body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we were sent out by Dr. Honeyeater and unfortunately discovered a dwarf in the marsh.
Goodness. Was it? Are you sure it was Bruzid?
I wouldn't have been able to tell. It was very hard to see from the face.
He's got a beard. I mean, I know that's a bit of that's not exactly narrowing it down, but he was dark black. No, that's not striking any chords.
Do you
Was the
remember
beard
what he
black?
was wearing?
Sort of some simple clothing, nothing too elaborate. Just that of a farmer's clothing. You would have remembered that the dwarf that you found was not that of the description he is giving of Bruzid.
Doesn't sound like our man then.
No.
Because this one looked different.
I guess fortunate in a way.
Oh, so this is a different dead body you found.
I guess so.
Yes.
Doesn't sound like what you're referencing.
All right then. Yes, I suppose. Thank you.
But the cart did have the emerald boar on it. We didn't see anybody there though. Just the cart left on its own.
It's a bit odd. Nobody at all.
No, there was a tar pit nearby.
He hesitates when you say that, and he raises an eyebrow. Tar pit. So this grove, the one Bruzid, the one Bruzid would have been northwestern area, kind of leaning a little bit northeast at times. You said there was a tar pit.
Yeah, we walked past. There was a cobble path, a bridge, tar pit, right where the cart was, and I fell in, and it was not fun.
No, the tar pits usually aren't. There's no tar pit there. There shouldn't be one there anyway.
Well, there was, and it burns, whatever's in there.
Oh, brilliant! And he puts a hand to his forehead. He's like, just brilliant. Not only have I lost a worker, I may have lost a bit of a grove as well. Brilliant indeed. And goes back to. He sits down at his desk and just slams the ledger shut and just puts his fingers to his temples. Do you have anything to report beyond that of bad? I don't mean to be snippy. It's just I have seemed to have lost a worker and now I've lost a decent grove as well. Did you happen to see anything else of note? I'll have to figure out perhaps getting a new planting area.
There was a giant toad we were attacked by.
I mean, giant toads aren't exactly not something you don't encounter in the swamp.
I mean, it was the size of a horse, if not larger.
Yes, that giant toads. It's a thing that runs in the swamp. You're lucky to be alive.
Benjamin shivers.
Yeah, I mean, there were trees that were cut in the grove. That was about it.
Which trees were cut down.
Yeah, there were stumps.
He sighs to himself and just leans back in his chair and just looks up at the ceiling. He puts a hand through his golden locks and just closes his eyes. So now thieves as well. So now I have murder, thieves, and... Ugh, goodness, I just cannot deal with this any longer. I can't even think of the word for what's the word for you mark something as bad. Graffiti? No, not graffiti. It's something. It's where you desecrate. I don't know the word. I am so stressed out right now. This is Tim actually saying, I don't remember what the word is for for messing with someone. Yeah, I do not. It's been a day.
Desecrating? Maybe?
Desecrating. Yeah, I get. Let's go with desecrating. That seems good. The Grove got fucked
It's
up.
it's such an
Yeah.
organic griff you're having right now. It's actually really impressed.
Anyway, yeah. So he's dealing with a lot of stuff. So what do you have to say to that? In his time of need.
Well, Mr. Zeke,
Bingletrite, please, Mr. Bingletrite.
sorry, Mr. Bingletrade.
Thank you.
Do you deal with thieves going to the groves a lot?
Not stealing entire trees, I would say. There's distinct, specific groves put up for gathering wood, I'm assuming, but to steal an entire apple tree, did you see any of them felled nearby, or was it just the stumps?
Just the stumps.
This is ridiculous.
Don't suppose your workers haven't reported any strange characters running around the swamp, taking samples that are not from Dr. Honeyeaters, perhaps?
There's all sorts of medical practitioners that are in the city that come by every so often. I myself see a doctor every so often for my own cough. It's not present right now because I've been taking up with my treatments, but at the same time, there's people all over here that are always collecting samples or doing some sort of medical experiment. I appreciate you still coming by to tell me about this, about Bruised and the Grove. Most likely we'll need to send or at least request a few dwarven attaches to reclaim whatever property we have there, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. So he reaches behind his desk and he takes out a small coin purse and he gives you each 5 silver.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Bingletrade.
Kind of you.
What is the emblem on the coin?
On the silver coin,
Yes.
it is that of the Dwarven Emperor.
Don't suppose. How long have you been in Clusterrock, Mr. Bringletrite?
Oh, I've run that of Bitterboard Distillery for at least 15 years on now after I purchased it from the original owner.
Above table, how old is the Costur Empire?
The Costor Empire. It's a Dwarven empire. It's existed for
A while.
many years.
Cool.
In its current decline, because I think I directly compared it to that of the Russian before that of Catherine the Great. So it's kind of in that period of time where it's a lot of hedonism and war, and it's gotten to the point where it hasn't been fully brought back to those glory days. It's still functioning, but not completely.
Do you know much about Honeyeater?
Is that a particular doctor?
Well, you answered the question. Yes, the tall, gangly one who wears white.
Oh, him. I didn't know he had a name. I always assumed he was just some sort of strange carnival performer or something of that nature. No, I have not met him, nor am I aware of him. In an intimate sense, I should say.
While we were out there, I saw a strange coin. It was a coin that was different than the ones with the Dwarven Emperor on it. It had it looked old. It was a gold coin with a leaf on it.
A gold coin with a leaf. I'm not really a banker myself. Do you mind if I see it?
He pulls out one of the coins.
He leans down and squints and looks at the coin. Just goes, it looks like a gold coin. Currency is currency in my mind.
Interesting. Maybe I'll figure out what the emblem is. It's just curious. I've never seen one before like this.
Looks rather old. I mean, I don't really pay too much mind towards whose face is emblazoned upon the coin. We get all sorts here. Um, I'm not certain of what it could be. It looks rather old, though.
Sorry about the predicament. We just thought we'd come and let you know what we saw. Better to know than to not, I guess, right?
That is true, and I greatly appreciate it. While you're here, did you need any of that of Bitterboard Distillery's famous apple whiskey?
I'd like to try one, maybe. And Benjamin brightens up. How much is it? Like a glass, a bottle?
Are you looking for a bottle? A glass would be 5 silver.
He gives him the 5 silver that he just got. Yes, please. I'd like to try it.
Ah, very good, very good.
Benjamin has no frugality. You're gonna have to stop Benjamin from spending. Just scrap.
That's not Scrap's MO. She's a
Oh, live
pirate,
life.
so
Oh yeah, drink.
yeah, she
I'll
is
have a
full
sip, you
send.
can-
That's her message. She's like, live it up,
Okay.
because you never know how long you're living.
Yeah, I've never tried apple. Apple whiskey sounds delicious.
Sounds really good.
All right, yes, here is the catalog here. I have it now. We have the Devil's Kiss. And he pours a small glass of that. The Prismatic Days. Small glass of that. And the Succubus's Stardust. Tongue-tying Chiller. And Surly Grandma.
They're not. It's 5 silver each one, isn't it?
Yes, it's 5 silver each.
Oh. Well, I'd like to try one of them. I'll try the Surly Grandma.
So I thought you might. And he pushes the glass forward of Surly Grandma.
And I give him the 5 silver. Is it a shot glass? Is it like
It's a shot glass.
Okay. You gonna join me? He holds it up to Scrap.
You see her kind of clinking the silver pieces between her hands. She's like, yeah, all right. She puts it
Come
down.
on, Miss Scrap. Let's drink.
Not miss.
He always ignores it.
So you're taking Surly Grandma's?
I am going. Well,
Ooh, Devil's Kiss, Succubus is what was it?
yeah, that one.
So he hands you Devil's Kiss.
All right.
Clink.
Clink. Bottoms up.
All right.
You down
Take
them
the shot.
both. So for Surly Grandma, Collin, I want you to imagine Liquid Warhead.
Oh.
I want you to imagine Liquid Warhead with a distinctive burn down your throat.
Oh.
Wow, that's unpleasant.
Ooh. Wow.
Just at the description, my mouth just.
Ooh.
I got nothing left. It's all this is just completely caved in cheeks.
He his face puckers, but he's smiling and he says that's fantastic. Whoa. And he genuinely means it.
Devil's Kiss is more of a cinnamon flavoring for you.
Classy.
So it's definitely it's warm, but it is smoother on the way down. It's still a shot, but it's a cinnamon warmth.
She kind of looks over it. She goes, "All right." She pulls out the 10 silver that she managed to pick up. She puts another. Let's try another set.
Another you got no one else to be today, I suppose. All right, very good. He pushes forward Prismatic Days.
Put down 10 so you can pick it.
Oh, I get to pick another one? What was the other one besides Prismatic Days?
Succubus Stardust Tongue-tying Chiller. And I think that was it actually.
I'll try that. He's like, maybe I should try the Succubus one. Oh.
Well, if you weren't gonna, I was.
He'll go for the Succubus one.
Okay.
All right, the Prismatic Days. Blink.
Ching. To
Okay.
life.
Bottoms up. To life.
Prismatic Days. I'm gonna need a Constitution saving throw for for both of you. You're both taking 2 shots of whiskey.
You
We had a hard day.
Yeah, it was a really rough day today.
it was a toad of a day.
That is 13.
You give yourself a shake of the head, Scrap, as you feel it run down in past into your core. prismatic daze, you do get the sense that, like, as you are consuming it, the sides of your head, as far as your vision, darken a little bit as it tastes distinctively of apple, of course, but it's not super sour. It's not like Silly Grandma, but it is definitely, it gives you a twinge.
Kind of winces.
Succubus's Stardust, what was your con save?
18.
You're also good. You shake your head as you give a chill down yourself. Weirdly enough, as you consume it, it's a bit like the sensation I would best describe is like pop rocks. As basically as it goes down, it's this constant like popping a little bit. With each pop is a burst of a warming sour that goes down into your gullet. So
If for a reference that not all make it from Brooklyn Nine-Nine when Captain Holt ate a marshmallow.
I was legitimately about to say, were you doing Andre Brown?
A little bit like that.
Yeah. Are you continuing on this bender, or what are you guys doing after you?
That's
She kind of slides back. I think I'm done.
Very good then.
Mr. Brittle.
Bingle tried. You had a bit too much, I think.
Sorry, Mr. Bingletrite. Your whiskeys they taste very good.
Oh, I thank you. He takes the remainder of the one you guys did not consume and immediately slams it down and just takes the glasses.
So what does that one taste like? Scrap ass.
The tongue-tying chiller.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's cold. It's a bit of a trade secret. It's a bit of a chilling form to it. And for those of you that are not as experienced as myself in that of the art of distilling, you'll find that it is a bit tongue-tying.
Mm.
Maybe one day we might help you get some more, maybe some more apples or a shipment one day if you ever need some help.
If anything, this has taken a bit of the edge off. I will have to still find at least an attaché of dwarven soldiers or something to help me reclaim the grove, but I appreciate your assistance. And is there anything else I can do for you? Other than that, I do have a rather busy day to attend to of the rest of our stock.
If one was to buy a bottle of one of these fine whiskeys later, how much would they be?
A single bottle? It would depend. Which one were you looking to do?
I would say the Devil's Kiss.
That would be at least, I'd say, 50 silver.
I'll think about it.
Very good.
Thank you again. Now I get ready to head out.
I follow.
All right, where are you guys going now?
Did you want to check and see if Dr. Honeyeater is back, or did you want to?
Worth a try. Worst case scenario, we check around, see if there are muddy footprints heading off somewhere.
You head back to that of Dr. Honeyeater's, or structure, rather. And as you approach, you still find that the sign is present upon the door.
He's not back yet.
Can I do an investigation check? Just kind of going around, see if there are any signs of where he might have headed.
Just give me a perception check.
15 for perception.
You don't get any sense of where he might have gone, or where they have gone essentially in any direction. It's been raining, so there hasn't really been any kind of tracks that would be left. You don't see any kind of indication of, it's not like he had a bike. He took off like a bike or something. It's just
Ring,
he's not
ring.
there. Yeah, just not there.
Maybe we head to where that Miller was. Milner? The dwarf guy, the one I'm carrying his arm. Should probably figure out, let them know the guy went missing, right?
I guess because of the log bits, right?
The log bit. So where's that at then?
I know a shortcut that way too.
That is also in Trunk Sour,
Oh, perfect. Let's go.
because there is only one woodworking mill in that entirety of the city, really, and it's Vanya's mill.
Here, this way.
As you get closer and closer, you hear the distinctive sound, as even through the rain, of heavy buzzsaws and other implements used to that of shedding that of the bark of wood into processing. And as you get closer, even that of the damp rain, you smell that distinctive smell of wood, of just freshly cut and freshly processed wood. Approaching the area, you see that there are a number of gnomes and humans predominantly in this area that are moving their respective wood pieces, using that of hooks and putting them upon their shoulders to transport to various areas. As you approach, you see that there is actually, in the rain, a rather tall orc woman. She slicks back her hair, which is of a deep black, and when she turns around, you see that she has a bit of a coat on and also a corset that appears to be a bit too tight on her, as if she is attempting to compensate for something that she feels not very confident over. As she looks over at your group, your meager group, she raises an eyebrow. Can I interest you in anything in particular? Looking for wood or something? Are you looking for work? You're looking for work, yes?
She wanted to inquire about one of your workers.
We have plenty of workers here. What is the complaint?
No, we found, unfortunately, a body out in the swamp.
A dead one.
This is not good. This is not good. It's hold on one second. Stratska! And she calls over, and there is a dwarven individual, completely bald, actually bald-faced and bald-headed dwarf that comes over, puts a clipboard over himself as he comes over in the rain. Yes. Is there any workers out in the swamp right now, in the marshlands of Stillwake? And he puts a hand over the clipboard, starts like flipping through pages and just trying to keep the ink from getting wet too much from the water from that of the rain. We had a Vothic. A Vothic went out there earlier the other day. Earlier the other day, Vothic. Was he Vothic? What did he have? Did he have had a reddish beard or so? You'd remember that. Yeah, that'd be the description of the dwarf as much as you could say of red hair.
Yeah, sounds like your
Yeah.
man.
It is a shame. Yeah, did you take his pack?
His pack was still. Sorry, the pack was still back in the water.
Oh, does any wood at all that he had?
There was scraps of it around, not very big, just little log bits.
Log bits. Only we had more log bits. She just stares off in the rain for a moment. The dwarf next to her just gives her a little elbow. It's like, yes. Apologies. Appreciate you bringing the news. If you wish to take his spot is opened up now, yeah?
Good to know. Did he have any weird health conditions that you know of?
This is Clusterrock. Everyone has weird health conditions.
Like he
True,
was
true.
dehydrated?
Dehydrated? No? You seem to rather
was a-
moist dwarf.
He wasn't crumbly at all?
Crumbly? No, he's no crumbly dwarf.
Okay.
Why you say crumbly?
When we saw him, he was crumbly.
I am no doctor. I have no knowledge of this. She looks down to the dwarf. It's like, do you have any knowledge of this? No, I have no knowledge of this. He has no knowledge of this.
Have you lost workers before out in the marshes? Is it common?
It is a dangerous place, especially if you go out on your own. I mean, our workers stick with each other if we go out. We don't want anyone getting killed simply just because it bogs things up. But I suppose he wished to try and get more log bits. Stares off in the distance again. Elbowed again. Yes, but in other case, I suppose he wanted to get in some extra work in and just he fell short of something. I'm not sure.
Well, sorry to hear about your man. We'll keep the job bit in mind.
It's good to know. Good work, good benefits.
Oh, what kind of benefits do you have in Clusterrock?
You get at least a few log bits from working here.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's a good deal.
premium log bit.
There are a good amount of log bits, I'll say that much.
Generous, of course.
You haven't been losing a lot of workers recently, have you? Is this rare?
We don't usually send people off on their own and haven't lost that many individuals. This will be the first that we've lost in some time.
Let's hope it's the last in a while then.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, best of luck to you. Must go back to chopping the woods and all that.
Thank you very
Huh.
much.
She waves to you and goes back to overseeing that of the work, carrying out in the mill, going back inside. The dwarf gives a small, polite nod and falls in kind.
Give him a wave.
Well, hey, gainful employment.
Plenty of
exciting.
opportunities. Could work with the Bitterboard Distillery. We could work here with log bits.
Could work for Honey Eater if he ever came back.
Now that I'm thinking about it, as he kind of blinks a little bit, I wonder, when we found the body, it had samples taken from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the person I saw in the mist, they were tall, and Dr. Honeyeater is pretty tall.
I mean, there's no lack of scientists or doctors or whatever here, and I can't imagine he's the only tall guy. I mean, he's really tall, though. Like, was the figure really tall?
And he thinks back to
Above ground, was that,
About the same height as you.
as
So
me,
he was not an impressive individual as far
like
as
Dr. Honeyeater.
no, it was just your height about.
Yeah. I guess he wasn't that.
saying 5'11"
He's
is
about
short?
my he's about my height. Shorter than Collin in real life.
Everyone's taller than me, so I got nothing. So
Huh. Well, I guess. Well, while we're here, is there anybody on the? Is there? Call it a paranoid check. Anybody eyeing us? Taking a
Paranoid
look
check.
As I look around at the workers.
yeah, sure. I would say that you don't even really need to look. People here are just caring about their business. They're working. You're at a mill. There are buzzsaws buzzing. People moving to and fro from that of the various wood they're collecting and processing. But that's all you can. Yeah, nothing of consequence.
Third time's a charm, right?
Yeah, so
You head back to that of Dr. Honeyeater's office. As you approach, you see that there are two dwarven figures standing there in the dark blackish metal armor with the red filigree. They are looking over that of the office, and as you approach, they look to you and their eyes flash. One begins to approach you in kind of a standard motion, and as they approach, they say first something in Dwarvish. You want to speak Dwarvish?
No.
do not.
I could have sworn you picked Dwarvish, didn't you?
I did, but I
Ooh.
realized that my background, I misread it. I don't get to choose an
Oh.
extra. I'm so
You did
sorry.
not get. No, okay, that's fine. They say
was
something in
going to.
Dwarvish.
Can
That's
you
what they say
speak
right now.
plain common for me?
Their eyes
You don't-
flash once more, and then they look down to you slightly. You are requested to head to the Castor Embassy.
On whose authority?
That of Kosik Steg, the governor of Castor Clusterrock Embassy.
The governor.
What was his name again?
Kosig Stag.
What the hell of a name?
The governor
Okay.
of Clusterrock.
That can't be good.
And Benjamin leans forward. Are we in trouble? He speaks it a little bit too loud.
The figure ignores you, like not looking at you in any direction, but still just states aloud. You are requested to go to the Castor Embassy to speak with Kosig Steg.
Scott gives a salute. Let's go.
Let's just follow these two.
These two figures begin to escort you to that of the Castor Embassy. You begin to go through that of the main street, and you get a couple of glancing eyes at you as you're being escorted by these two dwarven figures. And you end up approaching a series of large gates in the middle of the city. And these gates open up after a few moments as the two dwarven figures flash their eyes up at the top of the gate. Going through, you find that you're now in a relatively cleaner area. In fact, a majority of the buildings here look a bit newer than most. And as you continue to go through this area, you realize you're now in the Calm. You see that there are a number of individuals dressed in robes of various manner and types of various protective ornamentation to protect from infection. Some of them are seeing patients, you see, as they escort them into their own little tents that they've set up or buildings that are off to the side. And even still, as you go through these streets, some people give you some curious looks as you approach a second set of gates. These two figures again look up at the top, and their eyes flash as these gates open, revealing to that of the Talmos district.
This is the first time I think I've been here, yeah?
Right. The Talmas district is, of course, the district where a majority of the dwarven population lives, as well as a majority of those of more reputable standing and those that deal with more public trade. There is still the possibility of infection that can occur here, but this is definitely a more privileged area. You can tell even by the buildings that are less shantytown and less ramshackle and more proper buildings, as if they were actually, proper roofing and siding and everything as you approach that of the city. You continue on through the town square, and you do get even more looks as you approach that of the town square, passing by a giant fountain that you see has that of the dwarven emperor, Kaz himself, atop that of a cliff that he kind of oversees with a hammer outstretched in front of him. As you continue on through the streets, you find that you are going further and further north, approaching to that of a mansion on a hill. The thing to note about this, though, is that you're going up this hill, you notice that a majority of the structures, as you get closer and closer to this mansion, begin to be smaller and smaller, in the sense that you realize that these are buildings that were once, probably at one point, meant for gnomes, but have now been reconfigured to be for dwarven make. So similar to the situation you saw um, at the distillery, where things were made a bit larger to kind of allow people to go in. And as you approach to the mansion, you come to a series of large gates. You see that this building is a bit more well kept than the majority of the city. The outer iron gates stand a good 10 feet high. And on either side of this gate, you see another set of two suits of dwarven make. They are stout, short, but intimidating, with filigree of deep red metal. They look to you a moment, and a random flash appears from their eyes, approaching to that of the dwarves that were next to you as well. These dwarven figures that were escorting you immediately turn face and start marching back, while these two other figures place their hands up against the gate. As it opens, a shimmering green wave appears in place of where the gate was, and they look to you expectantly.
We can go in.
As we go in, I look, can we walk through?
You must speak with Kozak Mightstag, governor of Koztur Embassy.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
She
sir.
starts to step forward.
Yep. Start to step through the green.
As you pass by through this barrier, you feel the pair of you a bit more revitalized. You find that you have regained a bit more vigor. In fact, even the pains in your joints that would be occasionally there, Benjamin, have dissipated for the time being. The slight burning sensation you would feel at the scald upon your arm, Scrap, have also just felt a bit cooled as you've approached through that of this wavering green wave.
Oh,
You have regained your hit
Wow.
dice.
Ooh. Thank you.
that felt amazing.
So you feel that too?
I haven't felt this loose in my joints for a while. I can't
Oh, I don't-
remember. Wow.
Don't know what they've got going on up here, but I could get used to this.
I don't know. I didn't really like it when everyone was looking at us.
Yeah,
It's a little
that,
too nice here.
can't be too nice.
You keep going forward. Going up the steps of the mansion further into the area, you find again that this building has been configured to be a bit more accommodating to more taller individuals now, but you do see the evidence of what used to be most likely a gnomish mansion, a gnomish establishment. Entering into this building, you are escorted again by two suits of armor that begin marching on either side of you. The first thing you get the sense of in this place is while you enter in past that of the grand foyer, further into that of the hallway, is that there is a good amount of respective deep reds of drapes and various dyed furs, pelts, weaponry, all fantastic decorations showcasing a sort of hostile regality almost. There is a good amount of animal heads upon the wall of different species of elk, bear, wolf, and other creatures of strange origin that you have probably never seen before in your life. And as you get further into this hallway, you arrive to that of a door. It's a very elaborate looking door with fine bits of leaves all upon it, all decorated as like falling from that of a tree. And there's one thing you notice though about this: the leaves look similar to that of the emblazoned part of the gold coins that you had found earlier.
A scrap. Look at the leaves.
Just to clarify, now these leaves that we're seeing, is that part of the red or is this part of the original building we're seeing?
You can see that this is part of most likely the original building. This is the door you are approaching. The door is being pushed open as you're noticing this.
Scrap kind of grabs onto the side of Benjamin's shirt. Do not mention the coin.
He nods his head.
Gives a thumbs up and keeps going.
The sensation you have about this place is that it is a new coat upon a decaying house. As you approach further into this room, you see that it is a grand library and a large desk at the very end of it. And approaching this, you see that there is a dwarven individual that has very large, black, wild, unkempt hair, spiraling out with different parts of flecks of gray. You can see that his beard is also a deep black nest that houses the occasional gray hair as well, with a large, bulbous nose that is a deep red. And you can see that in his beard he has large, numerous gray bands that have been tied into it into various braids. As he sees you approach, he lazily comes up from his chair, from his seated position, nods to the two armors that are next to you that have then left the room and closed the door. I understand that you work for Dr. Honeyeater, yes? He gets up from his desk and he pours himself a glass of something on the edge of the desk as he starts to walk around the side of it.
Yes, sir.
Just started.
I am Kosek Mightsteak. I don't usually have your kind brought here. I usually keep you in the calm or in that of the Blackwater, but I have need of your services. Strangely, just because for some reason you are the only two of his ravens in the city right now. He takes a sip of the drink, the mysterious drink, and pours himself another. Do you have any idea where your order or your leader has gone off to?
Mm-mm. No?
No.
I find that hard to believe. He pours himself a drink a little bit higher than most and then takes a deep sip.
Well, it's not like we know where he goes. He just tells us where.
Sent us out early this morning. Said we were to collect samples from weird stuff happening in the swamp.
Did he tell you? I commissioned him to do that. Yes, did he tell you this?
No.
No, sir.
He grumbles to himself and just begins approaching the pair of you, putting his hands behind his back. We have noticed that he has not been at his office. We have not seen him live at all, but he is not there. We have gone inside, we have searched, he is not there. We are finding it strange that only two of his ravens have left behind, when we had sent him to take care of something for us of a very particular nature.
And?
Did you collect the samples? Did you find strange creatures?
We found a toad. Big toad.
Mm-hmm.
There are many big toads in this area. Is this a strange toad or a big toad?
Yes, I mean, look, and she pulls out of her waistband the piece of iridescent flesh that they'd pulled off the toad.
He immediately reaches into his pocket and puts a handkerchief over his nose and mouth. He motions for, how do you have it right now? How do you have the sample?
Have it in, I would say, my left hand.
He motions for you to a cart nearby with a silver platter, like a serving dish with like a top, little top dome part you put over, right? And he motions for you to put it in there now immediately as he talks through the handkerchief.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Do not quit. Put it in there.
She tosses it quick.
Did you toss it or did you put it in there? Just.
Oh, she kind of slams it down and onto the platter.
He backs away from the pair of you and goes back to his desk and pours himself another drink. Okay, so that is exactly what I was concerned about. How familiar are you with that of the magical miasma?
I'd like to make a history check to see how familiar I am. I guess.
What'd you get? Oh, 3.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess as much as I know the name magical miasma from living in Clusterrock,
you'd be
terribly much about it.
Yeah, you know the name.
But just the name.
History check. 7.
A 7. You also are aware that there is a thing called the magical miasma.
We just know it's a thing.
It is the very permeating essence of the Stillwake Marsh. It has been here for more than 100. No, I need to look this up. I had my notes. Fuck me.
Sorry, 1 second.
Seamless transition between.
Fuck me.
Have some. We'll be right back.
Due to technical issues, we have to pause the game.
Come over now to Bitterboard Distillery. Like a commercial for.
If you
Just
want
for-
the devil's kiss, press 1. Or just
Press
wait for
one.
the tone.
What if they have cell phones?
It's a sending stone, just.
Knock it on the table twice if you'd like assistance.
There it is. Okay. My apologies. Because I mentioned it in the freaking narration.
It is a magical presence that has been around for 140 years. It's been here ever since that of the gnomish people released it upon us, upon our land. The Blight Bloom.
He pours himself a drink. Again. He's just really pounding them away.
Why are you telling us this?
There is one thing that the gnomish royal family was known for, of their amazing work with all sorts of magic and that of disease, cures and the like. We invaded them, we took over the land that was rightfully ours, and they released this blight bloom all over the place, causing the Stillwake Marsh to be basically covered in the magical miasma. I am realizing I am dipping into 7 different accents.
I never noticed.
That's why
if you hadn't
Scrap
said
didn't
anything.
have any.
In any case, we believe that there is actually an attempt to cause another blight bloom to form. To create more diseases, more things that are going to cause this area to be even more uninhabitable.
Why are you suspicious of Dr. Honeyeater?
Because we told him to investigate the area. We told him to send his ravens to go look for it, and as soon as we do, his order is gone and only you two are left. We have allowed him to operate in the city a little bit more, with more leeway than most in his position. He has a way of creating certain potions that allow us to go into the marsh further to claim old gnome castles and resources. They don't have any, or at least they didn't have to have any loyalty with the Kingdom of Ol or other places. We just simply were looking for an outside party to help us find more resources for our own.
Well, we haven't seen him since we've got back from the job he sent us to go do.
He looks to your party and shakes his head.
This is a very bad predicament he has put us all in. He has put me in the predicament of thinking he has left you as patsies, or particularly just simply wanting for me to find some reason to be even more angry than I am at our deal. I'm not certain exactly.
What would you want from us?
As far as I understand it, I had a deal with that of Dr. Honeyeater and his ravens to collect samples. You have collected samples. You are now in charge of this operation further.
In charge.
I see no Dr. Honeyeater. I know not when he returned, but I sure know when he does, he's going straight to the barracks.
We also promised us a nice reward. Are you responsible for giving that to us too?
The Magiweave.
Mm-hmm.
I would say due to his treachery, I will consider it. I am not taking it off the table. All I ask is you find the true source of where they are making this blight bloom, potentially. We know that if they are creating this blight bloom, it's going to affect local fauna first, because it will affect the groundwater. But we need to know where they are making this.
And they being...
The gnomes.
As he says that, when living in small town, Is that particularly more gnomes in small town?
Yes, small town is more gnomes.
And he's talking about them as if they're enemies.
You would know, I would say, you know what, give me a history check with advantage.
It's a 13.
It's not something that you would not find a commonplace in a. Or you would find this pretty commonplace in most gnomish establishments. They don't talk about it too often in public, but as they stated before, about 140 years ago, there was a genocide of the gnomish royal family, of a lot of gnomish royal houses, and a lot of gnomes were pushed out of the areas of the Stillwake Marsh further down southwest. The dwarves had come in and kind of taken over a lot of old castles and cities, and then basically because of this, gnomes are still alive, gnomes are still present, and gnomes are still allowed to live, but a majority of what used to be the considered gnomish kingdom is gone. And what's been left behind is this concept of the blight bloom or the magical miasma, which a lot of dwarves believe was something that the gnomes purposefully set off as a big, you know what, you want our land? You can have it now, that kind of thing.
I don't know. I feel like he might be slightly protective of the people who helped raise him. A fair thought if he's, trying to put blame on a entire group of people. But he doesn't say anything. He just slightly bristles at how he's talking about them.
Okay.
Said it would affect the groundwater first. In what way?
Potentially, from what you saw of the black iridescent, it would create things like maybe welling up of different materials deep within the soil, create black pools to appear.
Like burning tar?
Closest thing, yeah.
We have seen that. Would it dehydrate anyone?
Dehydrate. Not certain. I am no doctor. I just know basics, small things. I got this shit assignment, and I have my tasks given to me to find out where they are making this potentially. It is most likely those gnomes. Most likely.
Gnomes that live here in Clusterrock, you mean, not an outside group.
I am not certain of this. This is why I task you with this.
Do you have any leads, potentially?
I have no leads. All I am aware of is that there is the gnomish district. There is potentially gnomes that live in a swamp. I am not certain. They've done a good job of keeping to themselves and knowing their place, but other than that, no.
Knowing their place.
Do you say that?
Yeah.
He looks to you and just,
Yes, knowing their place. We are the governors of this land. We do it with what we will.
Scrap starts not. Yep, you do. Right? Looks it's Benjamin.
He's kind of like, he straightens up a little bit. He just sniffs. Just got a displeased look on his face.
Now then, if you do this for me, if you find where they are making this potentially, then I shall give you Magiweave suits, and you will be able to leave this place. Because currently, right now, the only extent of the place you are allowed to go is that of the marshlands themselves. Any further than that, you would be shot on sight.
How would we get word to you that this has happened? I imagine you don't want us walking through the calm.
No, that was meant as a more of a way to create, how shall I say this, to rattle the cages a bit. And obviously, some people know that you are most likely going to be doing something for me. What you decide to tell them of what you are doing, that is up to you. Just make sure it is a believable cover story. But to get word to me, simply you will just need to head to one of the respective armors and ask for them to escort you to a good place. I haven't gotten a code word yet. Say that you have found the snakes. How about that, yeah? You tell them you have found the snakes. I have to tell my men to program that phrase into them.
Found the snakes.
Question about the green gate we walked through to get here. I haven't felt this good in a really long time. What kind of magic do you have going on here?
It is part of a basic restoration magic. It takes away any lesser forms of infection. For some greater parts, it's not going to heal you. No, it's simply just going to make you feel a bit better. But say you have a bit of sniffle or something like that, it would heal you like that. Don't want any unnecessary pathogens or things of that nature coming in here. This is the embassy, after all.
Right.
Understandable. Her tail kind of lashes back and forth a little bit, just thinking about all the sick people down below. Any other resources you can afford to us to help these lonely ravens?
No? Do we have a task for you? You handled this task, yes?
Yes.
Benjamin has continued to just look into it, just continuing to look at him. He hasn't spoken much. So.
He leans against his desk and begins to circle around it, going back to his chair as he kind of lazily goes back into it, grunting slightly as he reaches over his desk to grab the bottle and pull it to himself as he pours another glass.
You are welcome to be excused. Be sure to let them know to come in here to take that.
And he points to the sample you have collected.
To take that to processing, we'll have to make sure that there is a way that maybe we can reverse engineer it and maybe use it in the future.
Great.
Good. Good. Starts walking back towards the door.
Enjoy your drink.
Gives you a nod, and the door opens. The two armored suits that are there, one comes in and begins to grab the cart, seeing it very presently there as his Kosek is still pointing to it. The other points to the door to lead you out of the mansion.
In the leave with a determined, with like a determined step. I want to get out of here.
We'll say that it takes a bit of time, but you're basically falling back to the true path associated of going back through Talmos, through the Calm, to Brackwater. Is there anything that you say or do during that journey, or?
I don't look at anybody else. I'm no longer uncomfortable by being looked at. He's kind of a little miffed that he talked about the people that raised him well and meant well, like they were just beneath him, and he's just kind of walking out, not caring if somebody's giving him looks.
Scrap keeps kind of glancing sideways at him, seeing like the swagger a bit, but just decides not to address it at this moment.
Snakes know their place. Those people were nothing but nice to me. They're my family. He calls them snakes. All of them.
Yeah, to them they are. Let's discuss this outside of the calm, please.
I'd say most likely at this point you have gotten through the Calm
Okay.
into the Brackwater.
Let's get into Dr. Honeyeater's office and just look through the papers and just go in. If we're supposed to be running things now, I want to at least know what we need to look for, because we're in the dark now.
Honey Eaters does seem to be the best place to start looking. Break and enter.
As you approach, you notice further that up to the offices, you find that there are two armored Dorman armors standing there in front of the building. The door has been burst into, as you can see that they're most likely standing guard as someone is searching inside.
Start to head inside. Is it one of the armors that's searching?
You come across an individual, a dwarf with a buzzed head and a rather short mustache. He gives a small curt nod as he tucks a helmet under his under his arm. He's kind of got the same type of armor as the armors that are marching around, but obviously he has a bit more filigree associated with that on his pauldron, most likely denoting him as some sort of captain of the guard or something associated to that. As he looks to you, he gives a nod. Hello there, I am Vogar.
Raven 72.
A pleasure. I understand this is some nasty business. I understand. However, I am just simply doing my job here. Please, just to make it easier on me, do you have anything you want to tell me? All right, I just want to do my job. I just want to go and get a drink. It's been a long day. Just anything whatsoever.
We were sent out earlier this morning, northwest into the marsh, collect samples of strange colored fauna.
Very good. That's all I need.
He was writing something, if that matters.
We have looked through a majority of his documents. Yeah, there's not much here. There's no evidence, essentially, of anything else really being here. We still see there's plenty of potions. There are There are a variety of poultices we are unfamiliar with, but nothing of consequence, nothing that we can find indicates of where he went or where the other ravens went or anything of that nature.
Have you worked with Dr. Honeyeater before?
No, I just know to give him a wide berth and to give most of the scientists and doctors a wide berth. They are here to help as best they can. No, it is not exactly a good place where we live, but it is where we live.
Seem pretty level-headed.
I am a captain of the guard. I have to just simply go about day to day. I don't have any time for bullshit or anything else. I just simply want to get my job done. That's it.
Well, if you haven't heard the news yet, Mr. Mightstag has told us that now with Dr. Honeyeater missing, that we're the new ones in charge for now.
Congratulations. I apologize for not giving you more fanfare, but there's not much I can say about that. I don't really care who's in charge. I'm sorry to say. I just need to know information. If this is all the information you have, I would like to go. He kind of just starts to generally leave outside of the offices already.
Heard of anybody crumpling to pieces? Scrap kind of yells after him.
Only after a divorce. And he starts to continue on down the street.
She actually laughs at that. She's like, all right, that was pretty good. We could try to see what else we can find in here that the Bucketheads didn't find.
Did they leave a mess?
It's upturned. The chairs are
Oh.
upturned. There's like tons of papers all over the place. There are various bottles that have been emptied out with various viscous liquids on the floor, but some have still kind of been stoppered as well. So it's been completely upturned.
Benjamin begins to take the time to put the chairs upright, put them back where they were, and he's kind of slightly grumbly, but he will take the time to set the room back. Even if it means papers are going to be shuffled back into an unorganized mess to put in a stack, he just starts doing this automatically. And I'm just going to take the room from upturned into slightly organized chaos.
Scrap seeing him do this is like, all right, fine. She casts prestidigitation, starts cleaning up some of the messes that have been left on the floor.
While doing this, just throwing it out there, if anything on any of the documents that I begin to shuffle into stacks, if anything leaps out at me, and if I need to make a check while I'm cleaning,
I'll say that just for the sake of it, for doing this as a means of both of you just kind of cleaning up the place. Don't often do this. Point of inspiration. Let's just go ahead, just give you some point of inspiration. Um,
The first of inspiration.
yeah,
yeah. So as you're looking through this paperwork, I would say that you would need to give me an investigation check to just kind of like you're looking through the paperwork as you're just kind of shuffling through it. So give me an investigation check.
it's a 12.
12. Nothing is leaping out at you. You do get stuff talking about like reports of stuff in or northeastern part of the swamp, KG northwestern. Nothing super conclusive. No smoking gun. Nothing stating of like where he went, where the other ravens went, or anything of that nature. But that's about it.
None of this while he's cleaning and setting the space back up straight, because I assume this will be a place we'll be spending more time. None of this none of this makes any sense. Why would he ask us to do something and then disappear? As he continues.
I mean, he could have been working with whoever's causing this. He could have been beset upon by somebody. I don't know.
You really think he would be working to release more of the blight bloom?
I mean, how else is a doctor keeping business but people getting sick?
Gosh, I hope not.
He never struck me as a jolly sort.
He kind of seemed more practical than anything. He didn't seem malicious.
I think you knew him better than I did. He just gave me some basic stuff to stop burning occasionally, but
Only a little more, I guess. He didn't seem like the type to release a sickness just to be the cure.
he was writing at an ornate desk when we or at least a desk when we came in. Can I search the drawers, see if there's any sort of hidden hatches or weird things he might have hidden some goodies inside?
Sure. Give me a investigation as you're looking through this upturned rowboat of a desk.
Do you need help putting it up?
If you want to look, you can, because that's gonna cause sadness.
I can assist you. Let me see if I can help you out. And he goes over to where Scrap is and helps her out with the desk. I rolled a 16 for assistance.
Okay, so it is 11.
You're pawing over that of the rowboat. I mean, it is a reconfigured rowboat. There's not much that you can find necessarily that seems to be any kind of distinguishing hidden compartment or anything of that nature.
You know, if he couldn't have lived here, he had to stay somewhere. Did he stay in the calm or did he stay out among the unwashed?
I guess I've only ever really seen him here.
You've only seen him here.
I've never really seen him much in any other place. In this structure, is there? I've only ever been in like I guess the outward waiting part, right? And then I guess this inner office part.
Mhm.
Is there any other rooms? An upstairs, a downstairs, a bedroom?
No, it's just the waiting room and that of the office that you've ever been in. No.
About how long would you say it takes for us to at least set it back to non overturned?
The desk?
Like
Oh, the office.
the like from being
I mean,
ransacked.
you're not aware exactly of where everything goes, so you're just creating just basic neat piles and stuff like that. I would say it would maybe take about, 45 minutes or so, maybe an hour at most to just put everything back together where it needs to
Yeah.
be.
And we're just putting papers in stacks. Prestidigitation
Yep.
the puddles away. You said there's potions. Do I see any of those potions that he was referencing?
Yeah, so you see a number of potions. You notice as you're looking through these bottles, though, that there are bits and pieces of things floating in them.
Like colors specific? Any
Not
reds,
really color
greens?
specific. These potions appear to be kind of like maybe some kind of preserving agent.
Like a not a brine, but like are there like floating fingers or anything like that in there?
Yeah, these bottles are varying in size and shape depending on of like the best way to describe it is like some that are about the size of like a like Costco pickle jar, big jar, and then others of like
Jeez.
size of yeah. So and they have varying pieces of viscera and things in them.
Got it. Do not drink.
No, probably not. I guess the next phase is to start talking to the gnomes.
I know the quickest way to get there.
Lead on, Lanky.
Let's go to Small Town.
Okay. An area that you are fairly well acquainted with, Benjamin. A multitude of various individuals uh, greet you as you pass by, knowing you full well of who you are, even from your size, stature, and just strange appearance, but also just from your upbringing. Majority of these buildings are small, of course. Most of them are actually more tent and canvas related than anything. But other than that, it's actually just kind of just a small area. Is there anything in particular that you're trying to find in small town?
I'm just gonna go straight to that of a town leader of sorts. Um, if there's anything like that, not I guess equivalent to like a town elder.
That would be Dola. She runs the Gleaming Giant Tavern.
Let's go to the tavern. I'm sure I must have. I'm sure I know Dola well enough to have spoken to her many times since living here. Maybe even have worked in the tavern at some point, run some errands for her.
You head to that of the Gleaming Giant Tavern. It's configured for gnomes. You're very much aware that you will have to stoop, no doubt, to get inside of it,
He
Benjamin.
stoops like it's second nature.
As you go through the entrance, it's a rather flat building as far as just there's not anything kind of strange roof or anything like that beyond that of canvas that has been laid up over on top of it to kind of allow for water to come off of it. So it's a well-treated canvas animal hide. You see that its namesake is that of a painting of showing of that of a gnome, basically giving the reverse of like growing into it like a giant. So it's kind of like a reverse shrink ray image that you would see, of just kind of like going
And
up. Yeah, but mostly the people here are gnomes of short of stature but strong of heart. As you approach that of the bar, you see that of Dola. Dola is cleaning a majority of what looks to be a rather large wash basin. But the thing that you notice is that she's wearing gloves, rather thick gloves, as she continues to clean the basin. She has short black hair, green eyes, and has a bit of a small scar formed kind of directly under her nose that goes down across her lip. And as you approach, she looks to your group and puts down the basin that she is working with and gives you a greeting. Hello there.
Hello, hello, Dola, he says in Gnomish.
Ah, 'tis the shifter.
How are you doing? He continues to say in Gnomish.
Doing well, she replies in Gnomish.
Is there anything I can get for you, big man, at all?
No, nothing that. I actually, he switches to common. Actually, I have a question. Wanted to talk to you about something.
All right, we'll speak away, but I do ask that you pay for a drink. This is a business after all.
I thought you'd never ask. I'll have, and what is on the, what is on their menu?
It's the standard ale, wine, that kind of stuff. So,
Okay, I will have, and he looks to Scrap. Miss Scrap, what would you like?
I'll get an ale, please. She says, looking at. Oh,
Two ales.
very good. She's pouring them. She looks over her shoulder.
So what's this question that you're wanting, eh?
You know about the Dr. Honey Eater.
I know about the doctor, all right, yes.
Well, I got to. He sits down at the bar, and yet I got to do a job for him today. I finally started working for him, and Miss Scrap joined me.
Is that so?
What did he have you do? And she sets the flagons on the countertop.
He says thank you in Gnomish, and he takes a sip, and he kind of describes that in very general terms that they went out to collect some samples. Rather simple, right? Just go out, get something, and come back. It's something that I've done many times in other ways.
True.
This time it's started to get a lot more complicated.
No.
As he then begins to describe coming back, Dr. Honey Eater not there. The body, the dwarven body that crumbled, the figure in the mist darting off northwest, onto being escorted by the dwarven armors to go see the governor. Into, as he's saying this, as he mentions the governor, his face kind of not falls, but gets a little tense in the face as he talks about him.
She bites her bottom lip and ponders a moment, and then eventually just shakes her head.
That's quite a lot of information. Say that much.
yeah, it is. Scrap looks at Benjamin.
I trust them. I trust these people. You don't have to be cagey around them, he says to Scrap.
So, what did you exactly tell her that you were tasked with doing? Right?
Yes, that much.
So you need to find where they have made these old diseases and the like, potentially.
Right. He thinks it's all has something to do with just gnomes doing the Blight Bloom. He thinks it might be. He doesn't have any other suspects. So I came to you and wanted to see if you'd heard any chatter about any of the magical miasma.
Not that I can think of, no. I would say that there's all sorts of parties out there that
I am dipping into Scottish, Irish, Russian. Fuck me. It's a world tour. I'm trying to do Russian because my whole point of the area is that not everyone is with gnomes and dwarven, etc. So please excuse me, anyone that is listening to this, of you just constantly bleeding out of your ears of just what he just
Oh,
pick an accent.
no.
It did start with Irish for her.
I had intended to do Russian, just dipped into Irish. Just,
It's Irish everywhere.
fuck. I'm not too particular about where he... Fuck! The Russians are really ready to go. The Russians are really ready to go. So particularly, I'm not too sure where it is. I don't know where this potentially would be. We have no elephant in this race. We have no reason to create more of a situation.
As she's saying that, just out of curiosity, I'll do an insight check.
Okay.
It's like
Nothing.
insight check.
Yeah. Nothing from me.
All right.
10.
You don't get anything from her.
Mm-hmm. You know, this is an interesting situation. This is new for me.
I will say this though: if someone is creating a new blight bloom, they might be using knowledge that was left behind in certain castles.
And that knowledge anyone can find.
Potentially, yes. Anyone could find these castles if they know how to navigate the marsh.
Have you seen any strangers coming through recently?
Not many strangers.
Anybody new to the area?
Not
Maybe
many
my height.
strangers. No, not many strangers come into that is Breakwater or even that, from what I hear, of Tolmos. This isn't exactly a large trade town. It's enough.
I think I might have seen someone in the marsh,
It's a big world. You could see everyone anywhere.
I guess.
So if one wanted to navigate the marshes effectively, who would we talk to?
You could get a map, potentially, from some record keepers. She looks around, just kind of casually making sure that no one's really hearing much of your discussion. Gapos and Devon Femora. They shall give you a map to navigate the swamps. Be aware, it is a shifting landscape, but it will greatly help you in finding certain places. I can think of at least one place that there would be a significant amount of research having been done. But I ask you this. And she leans in close. If you find anything there, you bring it to me.
Why? He asks. He genuinely asks why.
It's good to have a bargaining chip. We may have not started this, but we certainly can have a way of incentivizing better conditions.
Did have a nice fancy field that cured a lot of ails. I can understand wanting that. Are these individuals with the map trustworthy?
Yes, you're going to. How much coin do you have?
Kind of rattles her pockets, I guess enough, hopefully.
Like, how much specifically?
Not a lot. I have some gold pieces.
I think I rolled up, I think it was 200 and some gold.
How
I based
do
it
you
off
have
of
200?
See here, okay, here. So the player's handbook has the based on class wealth thing, and I was going to ask you about that because I wasn't certain.
We should have discussed that because 200 what?
220 gold because I was like,
Whoa!
okay, because warcasters weren't on there, but I'm like, okay, they're wizardy or warlocky, and
Man alive!
I
220.
am fine with that not being canon.
Suddenly,
to be
a
honest.
ghost
Jingles her pockets. You
A
were
ghost
jingle,
appears and
jingle,
steals your
jingle.
gold. Just a ghost appears, steals your gold. You're gone. You're poor, destitute. It goes.
I have-
I now.
I have 10 just for comparison. I have
I'm
10.
the gold goblin. Your gold is now gone.
Who is this?
Gonna make it hail on some bitches. Yeah, no, okay. Because
We're okay. So I would say, so Collin, you got
I
your
have
gold
10.
from your background, right?
Yes, 10.
So what was your background?
Merchant.
I
Oh, wait,
was a
no.
pirate.
Okay, so what? How much gold do you get for being a pirate?
It was 10 gold pieces.
And you have 10 gold pieces. 200 gold sneaking in the riches.
I'm just following the player's handbook. Full disclosure, I have never done that step, which is why my previous characters have been so unbelievably poor. So I was like,
They're
oh, I'll do
normally
it.
supposed to be poor. They're not supposed to be in the money. Look, it's just...
That's fine. Okay. 10 gold pieces.
Okay, all right. She asks again, after having been baffled by that of the gold goblin stealing on your gold. How much gold do you have now?
I think we have about 20 in between the two of us.
After the echoing coin purse, 10 gold pieces. And change.
It should be enough, I imagine. They might ask something more of you, potentially, if you are... It's still a dangerous place to go, into the swamps, especially to the old ruins of some of the castles. They may ask for you to bring something back for them. Nothing probably of super consequence, most likely some sort of bubble or something. Just be aware of that. Do you have packs? Do you have things to travel that into the swamplands at all?
Got a backpack.
I would suggest maybe getting a few supplies then. Something at least to make sure that when you get to the swamplands, you will have less trouble.
And rations. Sorry, I guess I should say. Got backpack rations.
That'll do it.
You mentioned there's one place you could think of. What's it called?
She hesitates for a moment before looking over the top of the counter, and she looks to you, Benjamin. Castle Ralnor. It was the castle of the noble family of Raul, and they were very, very good with coming up with all sorts of medicinal applications of magic and finding ways of manipulating that of the magical weave to create even more terrible ways of dealing with the outside forces.
Be discreet as we possibly can be. I assume they were also taken out by the dwarves when they moved in.
She looks around. Not all.
Oh,
Above table,
here?
it wasn't like a full wipeout.
I'm maybe using the word maybe inappropriately, but it was a massacre. It was known as the Needlewood Massacre, of which basically pushed a majority of Gnomish royal family, and you would know this. Gnomish royals directly into that of the Stillwake Marsh, and a lot of them died, and castles were abandoned and reclaimed by that of the Dwarven Empire and everything like that. So, not everyone died, but a majority of the noble families are gone.
So there are still some of the family around?
A few, here and there.
Any of them troublemakers?
They've been known to get into trouble every so often, but mostly they just keep to themselves. Usually too busy running places of business, perhaps.
I'm in the market to visit some shops. What kind of businesses?
She starts to wipe the table or the counter in front of you, and then she takes the 2 flagons away. That'll be a few silver. She looks to you with a raised eyebrow.
She slides over a piece of silver.
And she pockets it. Thank you for your business. And puts the flagons underneath the counter.
He leans. Never mind. No.
What you gotta commit. You gotta commit.
Oh God. Benjamin leans in. Do you get it?
Just Scrap was like, no. Yes, I got it.
Okay. All right. It was taking a little bit there.
She peeked up. It's like I was about to say. It was taking a little bit. I'm just saying. It's just I was trying to not be overly too much about it, but gotta have a little bit of mystery in life. Just saying.
I thought it was nice. He says.
Well, glad there's still some around and kicking. Can you think of anybody? I mean, obviously the dwarves have it out for you, but could there be anybody else you can think of that would want to blame your family?
Not that I can think of. Again, if this is, and she's trying to keep her voice down a little bit. There was a lot of knowledge in those castles, especially of Belmore.
someone may have gotten access to something or some sort of parchments or something of that nature. And it's one of those situations where it's been a treacherous area to get to. No one really goes into the marshlands unless they absolutely have to. And I'll tell you this, even if you get a map from Gapos and Devon, it's not going to be easy to get to Castle Relnor. A lot of the landscape has changed. The magical miasma has caused changes in certain creatures as well. It's going to be difficult. With a map, better, but still difficult.
Well, I want to do my part. I don't like the rhetoric the governor was pushing, so I want to find out the truth.
Anything else I can assist you with?
So where would we find Gapos and Devon?
It'll be at the Whispering Pond. It's a record keeper and maps. They sell a lot of maps to that of the millers and those of the herders for swamp elephants. They try to keep consistent maps, but it's gonna be pricey. It's a treacherous place, that of the Stillwake Marsh.
I appreciate the heading.
I take a quick look around. How many patrons were in here? Are there dirty tables or anything?
I mean, it's a gnomish establishment. It's not packed, but it's let's say you guys are gone for about now 6 hours, so it's probably a little early evening, so not terribly late, but it's a decent size amount of people here. So all gnomes, though. They're all gnomes. Gnomes all the way down.
In Gnomish, Dola, do you want me to run a couple of drinks?
Big man, you don't need to run any drinks. You're not on the payroll. It's fine. Okay.
Okay.
You don't need to run any big drinks.
Like clean some tables?
No, no cleaning tables. None of that. Go
Okay.
go do hero things. Go do hero things.
Fine. Okay.
But remember, bring it to me.
He nods his head. Starts heading out.
You head out to the Whispering Pond. As you approach the Whispering Pond, you find that its logo on the front is a book that's open on the kind of on the ground, and on the inside of it is like ripples essentially out of the book, kind of like a pond essentially. And approaching into this establishment, you hear the bell ding, and as you hear the bell ding, immediately you see two individuals pop up from like side to side, from left to right, kind of sliding in from like almost stage left, stage right. And on one side, you see a half-elf. On the other side, you see a gnome. They are both dressed wearing crop tops to show off their impressive abs, and they both have deep blonde haircuts. One says, "Hello, I am Gapos, and I am Devon, and we are Gapos and Devon Feymora. Welcome to the Whispering Pond!" As they say in unison. As they look to you, kind of just as they go back to back with putting their hands in front of them, as they kind of look similar to that of like a old school advertisement for some late night ABC show.
You may go do it again. Script's just looking at. Hi.
Hi, Gapos. Hi, Devon.
It's Devon, not Davon. Devon.
How is that spelled?
Devon.
Devin.
Scrap uses prestidigitation and casts a big arc of glitter in front of them where they landed.
They in turn go, "Oh!" and they both do their own presentation of more glitter.
Like you people. We hear that you are the people to talk to if we need a map.
Oh yes, we are the people you need to speak to if you want maps, records, or all sorts of keepings. Of records, that is.
Oh, what can you do about a map of the marsh?
They both look to each other and they look back to you and they give
We could handle it, yeah.
Does anybody?
I want to do an insight check on that, just for fun, because they like 8, whatever.
They are fabulous and they know exactly what they're talking about.
Got it. All right.
Say, has anybody else purchased a map of the marsh recently? Someone you're not familiar with?
Oh no, we have all the records here. No one buys a map from Gapos I'm Devin, Mora, without us knowing. So no one's purchased anything from this.
Well, how much would a map of the shifting marsh run?
Where are you wishing to go?
Well,
Each quadrant is much more complicated depending on where you would like to go.
I heard about an old castle. How many castles are there?
Gnomish castles or just castles?
Gnomish.
Dozens.
How about a Castle Ralnor?
Gapos, the gnome, goes, oh yeah, we know where that one is. That is in northeast.
And how much would a northeastern map cost?
That is going to be 10 gold.
Oh.
It is a very treacherous area.
What can we expect traveling to the northeast?
Tons of shit. Like, it's just very dangerous.
Thank you for being honest. You say, what's in the northwest?
The northwest. I need to look at my map, like where it goes directly to the northwest. Essentially, I've just hold on.
I'm imagining they're making that exact same like scatting noise while they're looking through their maps.
Oh, just all sorts of things. It goes into the Hearthlands, but that's about it. There's not much else out there.
There wouldn't be anybody living out there, right?
Maybe it's a big world.
No.
People live everywhere.
These two. So much.
They must. Well, Miss Scrap, do you want to go 5 and 5?
5 and 5 it is.
I take out 5 gold.
I'd take out 5 gold.
Can we do it like? Can we like do it in time and give it to them? Like,
Yeah.
here we go. Kind of matching their energy.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You do.
1, 2,
2,
3,
3. Yeah.
5 gold. 5 plus 5 is 10.
Yes, but that didn't seem very rehearsed. Try again.
Okay.
All
On the
right.
count of 3. 1,
1, 2, 3.
3. Yeah.
Da-da. And prestidigitate glitter as we hand over the gold.
Ooh. And they take the gold prize.
Ooh.
Gapos does a flip backwards as he goes to the kind of a group of various scrolls that are put away into the shelves, and he takes one out. It's a rather large-looking scroll as he produces it into a map case and gives it to you. The case is for free.
Oh,
How
Thank you.
generous. Thank you.
I actually have a map case.
Well, this one is for free too. We need to get rid of this stuff, okay? Like, we can't just it's just
Thank
these
you.
things are piling up back there, okay?
I'll thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
You know, since we're now customers, is there maybe a future discount on other maps?
No. Why do you get this mentality of just you going to a store multiple times? Hey man,
Like a reward system, you know?
No.
reward system.
Sorry, he's simple.
I know every time I go into a restaurant, I ask them, hey, I love your food. Give me for free.
Yeah, it hurt my feeling. Fine. It never hurts to ask.
I suppose not. I mean, anything else we can help you with, says Gapos.
For first-time travelers into the marsh, any tips?
They both lean in, and with their bright smiles, it suddenly just drops as they just give like this very like,
beware the dangers associated with that of the marsh. It is a treacherous place.
Did they say that at the same time?
yes, in that type of voice and in that deep tone as well. Okie dokie.
Okay. And did they just retreat back into...
They just go back into their ABC family pose.
Oh. It's dying.
Sorry.
And Gapos is the gnome, right?
Gapos is the gnome, Devin's the half elf.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we've got what we need. Thank you both very much.
Thank you. You have fun. Don't die.
Thank you. And he says goodbye in Gnomish to to Gapos.
Both of them respond in Gnomish to you.
Goodbye.
She's still dying.
Sorry. Just first time, I can't wait to draw this later.
Well, now we got a
Got a map.
a map for northeast.
With map in hand, you make your way to that out into the major area of Small Town. Your task ahead of you of what to do next. And soon you shall find that mystery abounds even more within the depths of the marshlands. I was trying to be ominous with that, but we'll see how that comes off. Okay, good. All right, great. Awesome. All right, welcome to the discussion part of the Tables and Fables podcast, where we're continuing on to the Plaugelands. So I'll be honest, like I'm being glaringly honest right now. I did a lot of prep for these sessions. However, this week had been draining on me work-wise and other things, and so I was hoping to get all of it done in one sitting, but it was just not happening. So hope you guys can forgive me, as also the listeners if they are listening. If like, hey, maybe you're getting a third episode out of this, basically, then, or four. I don't know. One thing I will bring up, though, one of the saving graces when it comes to these kind of things is Sly Flourish's Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. It is a godsend for helping to spawn people that are just like, I need to plan a session, and I am just unbelievably sorry. I don't know how to do, and it really does help. It does help you try to figure out planning sessions, and within the space of usually sometimes a few hours if you need to get something up and running. So I'd highly recommend that. If you have not, if you're a DM and you would like to learn how to plan sessions out efficiently, go ahead and do Sly Flourish's Return to the Lazy Dungeon Master. In any case, so that's session 2. How are we feeling? I mean, we didn't do any combat really in this one, but it was a lot of lore and a lot of skill rolls and intrigue. So what are thoughts?
I am immediately intrigued and also slightly dismayed at the part where now I'm feeling like Benjamin is there's a slight uncomfortable feeling, I guess, for the first time when he was speaking with Dolo and she said, "Bring it to me," as he never really had to, speak to her in a fashion like this. And I couldn't help but just feeling just a very slight known these people for all my life, but it almost feels like I'm picking a side. And just more than anything, want to know the truth, no matter what the truth reveals. It's so early, but I can already tell there's a lot going on. I want to know.
Definitely got the vibe where it's like as soon as he's like, yeah, we can reverse engineer this spell plague or the plague bloom
Blight Bloom.
iridescent light. Yeah, sorry, light bloom. Reverse engineer cause something catastrophic. It's like, oh no. Initial impression is I trust the gnomes more as they are deposed power. Seems like the dwarves are reigning comfortably, but they're not doing so with much competence, at least in this area with this particular mayor. There's lots of secrets, and secrets are scary. So
And Gavin and Dapples. Wait, yep, Gappos and Davin.
that
Goppels and Davin.
oh, stop laughing. I'm so sorry. I could not control myself.
I hope it was entertaining enough. So I always have I've got a soft spot for one. I think it's an SNL skit that it's based off of, but I primarily got it from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. I was channeling a little bit of that. I am Ghost and I am Mez, and we are here to pump you up. Like I just cannot. It's so stereotypically stupid and German and whatever, and I don't care. I find it absolutely freaking hilarious. And I don't know, just something about too flamboyant. So one thing I should make clear too, I don't think I did. They're brothers. So they're Gapos and Devon are brothers. Half elf, half gnome. So he's not tall necessarily, but it's a half elf, half gnome.
Okay.
They were partners. I thought it was like a husband situation.
No, they're brothers.
I thought they dyed their hair so they matched. Okay, that makes sense.
No, but trust me, there was a point when I was coming up with the names like I kind of want to make them together, but at the same time, I was like, I want to do brothers, because that's not to say that there's never going to be any kind of relationships like that in any of the games we're going to play or anything like that. It's just like I don't know, just like amusing to me. I'm just a gnome and then a half gnome, half elf brother duo, but it's just like they're trying to do the whole back to back like sibling thing, but it's just one significantly taller than the other one. Just it just tickled me. I'm just like, oh, okay.
I'm definitely intrigued as to why all of a sudden I was definitely not expecting to be essentially abandoned by Dr. Honeyeater. I really
Yeah, that's
I didn't
complete
expect that.
left field. Yeah, it's like, oh,
I thought this was gonna be I thought we were gonna be going back and forth to like a Dr. Honeyeater hub and just be like, all right,
errand
here's the
boys. Yeah,
thing. And then he's like, good, good. Now go over here. Yeah, just gone.
yeah.
I
I'm
was
glad
not
that
I was
I'm glad that was confuddled or confuddling then.
It's like, what the heck? See you
and
after lunch sign. What is this bullshit?
and then
Yeah.
all of a
So
sudden now it's okay, now you guys are in charge. That definitely just upped my anxieties a little bit, you know? Just like
I
I
mean,
don't want to I don't want to be in charge of
at least you got a
anything.
at least you got a base of operations, I suppose, right? Like,
I guess.
it's just
We
us,
don't really
though.
know
Like,
what to, I mean, I guess we got a map and an area, but we're flying by the seat of our pants here.
it's a situation of basically where all the senior members of your job quit and leave you just now you're the senior members.
nobody trained us for this.
Yeah, that was our first job, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was your first job in the marshlands. I think we talked about how you're in service to Dr. Honeyeater, or you were, for a while. Like you were aware of him, and you became ravens for him. But as far as like going out and doing a task like this, it was like the first big one.
I did appreciate visiting the distillery. That was fun. Just having all the different drinks.
I think we needed a drink after
Your toad wash.
yeah, yeah, yes. That was quite the that was a great palate cleanser.
Badoo. I'm very curious how this is going to go because clearly we've already experienced one denizen of the marsh, and that was quite enough. Curious how this goes.
Yeah, I was kind of in some ways I was inspired a little bit with the idea of things like the not just the green sea from Fallout 4, but like just generally areas like similar to like Annihilation of just areas that are just completely affected by magic to the point or something ethereal or strange where it's almost alien and just everything is just out to get you. And that's kind of the vibe I was kind of trying to go with a little bit with the idea of the magical miasma, at least so far. So not to spoil anything, I suppose, going forward. But I mean, there's a reason why there was this whole region is that's like why no one likes to go out there as much at all, and that's why it's kind of a shit assignment to be assigned Clusterrock if you're the governor or anything else like that. So
I mean, yeah, you get the vibe that the mayor was not, or the governor wasn't batting 1,000 necessarily.
no, I was
No, it's like
trying
I
to.
hated to be there and just wanted to drink it away.
Anything else you guys are curious on or want to bring up or question, etc., or any inspirations essentially that you had, or
Scrap and Benjamin seem to be meshing well together, yeah. So early on.
I mean, so far, I think
so far.
I'm glad you try every now and then to be like to you. I love it how you react to being called Miss Scrap, and you just you just pause or you're like it's not Miss. He just keeps going.
I'll be curious to see how the dynamic changes moving forward. Just, I
Hmm.
mean, obviously we've survived a toad and tar together, so we'll see how the rest of it goes.
And
But yeah,
you gave me the health potion. That was very nice.
eh, crew above everybody else. Gotta take care of your people. She's pretty neutral, but she cares. She has a soft spot for people around her. So I think to some degree she understands Benjamin. Probably thinks him. to be a little naive, but she's not going to actively fight being kind, I guess I'll say,
Yeah,
unless
the
it
gnomes.
inconveniences her in some
uh,
serious way.
I'd say the gnomes would be his people. That's his small people, a small town, his people.
So going back to kind of like your bluntness, Colin, for your character, I want to bring this up purely just because I think it's kind of a fun experience to share and also just a fun thing because similar to when you said like earlier with the governor where you said that word, he's like, did you actually say that? Because I think I remember you brought up the brief story of essentially when we first played D&D when I was DMing, and you said some offhanded comment, and I'm like, did you actually say that? And then you just freaked out because you're just like, wait,
It was
but
the prince of it was a prince, and I basically just told him, if you remember the comment, basically that his it was almost being very dismissive of his feelings,
Mhm,
very outright, and I wasn't really. I had said it just to say it,
right.
but I didn't really realize how much. I was kind of half in character, half above table, like, oh. And then you said, "Did you actually say that?" And I was like, "Yeah." What do you mean? Wait.
It's always just a danger I feel like when it comes in a good way when it comes to those situations. I think when you're role playing or of the matter of the mixture of yourself and the character of would the character actually say that or and I'm also trying to make sure I'm differentiating myself from the character and saying that because I don't want to be like I love that when you do that. It just tickles me because of that just that original memory, but also just it's fun to consider. Are you flat out just asking the governor if that's something he's doing or what. So,
That is one thing I am enjoying with your portrayal of Benjamin. It's definitely that childlike sort of why. Just it's abrasive. It kind of catches you off guard. You're like, oh crap! I suspect it'll get us into trouble.
I think so too.
you say that like you're planning on it.
No, I'm not
It's
planning
already
on
been
it.
scheduled.
Benjamin's gonna do something that's gonna surprise me, and we'll be like, "Oh, geez." He is his own entity. I just let him drive. I'm kidding.
just Benjamin, take the wheel. I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. As always, thank you to the listeners for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. I know that we're still playing with format, and we'll see exactly if this is something you enjoy as far as having these little discussions after the fact. I kind of like them. I like a little bit of a cool down period. Again, we're not trying to reveal anything about everything character or everything about the world. I mean, there's snippets here and there I think that help to contextualize some things, but ultimately, I like doing this a little bit because it helps to kind of one thing I always was afraid of whenever D&D happens or even just kind of DMing of anything, it's that whole almost immediate like shutdown of going like, all right, I'm done DMing, and then just you go away, but you don't discuss it sometimes. I feel like, and it's just I think it's fun to discuss it every once in a while.
Mhm.
But again, thank you for listening. If you did, again, we are available via Spotify and potentially Apple Podcasts. Still working on that. I don't know. By the time this is up, it
Working
might
on it.
be up. But you can follow us at our social media at Tables and Fables Pod at Instagram.com. Or wait, at Instagram. I don't know why Instagram.com. Why are you using the website to watch it to look at Instagram? Come on, people. But you can go to our actual website, Tables and Fables Pod, to look at our RSS feed and to see some other information about our various other socials. And then, of course, our Blue Sky, which is our home away from the fire. That is, you know what site. Tables and Fables Pod.bsky.social. Give us a follow there and be sure to just kind of tune in. If you haven't rated us already, please give us a rating, maybe 5 stars if that's what you're keen to. It greatly helps us to grow and to hopefully learn and do better at this in the future. But yeah, does anyone else have anything you want to say or plug or
Nothing
drink
from me.
water? Just
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't get your 8 hours, drink water, etc., etc.
Nothing right here. I'm just excited for next session to show up or to come up.
Yeah.
I want to know what
All right,
happens.
all
Storming
right.
Marsh.
And I don't want to because here's the thing: is that after the marsh, I already have an idea of the next thing potentially, which I have an idea of. It'd be a very quick kind of game we would be able to play, and we'd all be learning together too, which would be fun.
Hey,
So I'm looking forward to positing that here in the future. But hey, let's tune in. And no matter what time it is for you, morning, evening, or night, or having a good time. I hope you're having a good time. We're gonna stick with that again. I'm gonna go back to that. Thank you, and we'll see you all. Well, you'll listen to us, and yep. Goodbye. Awkwardness. I can't speak. I'm. Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Be good.
All right. So when do we get to see the Eastern Light?
just start sprinting. Just start sprinting there, man.
I'm gonna get up there.
I'm gonna climb that.
I'm gonna have to find some what is it? Boots of spider climbing or shoes of spider climbing. Although I have a sneaking suspicion I don't think that would work.
Probably not. I don't know. You should try it, bro.
Uh-oh.
There's an
Okay.
entire city
We'll
dedicated
try.
to trying. Entire city dedicated to trying to climb it. Yeah, see, go ahead.
Kind of seems like a pastime. Like I see the welcome back, guys, to
It is.
episode 85. It's just a bunch of people lined up getting ready
I'm
to try
gonna climb that. Today we're climbing the Eastern Light. Couldn't do it. All right, so welcome
Gone wrong.
Gone wrong.
Blinded for 90 days.
red circles and different.
Story time.